looking forward to the season. Guys have worked extremely hard all summer long. Obviously, um, we got some new guys that have come in. It's great to see them kind of start integrating with our team, kind of finding their niche in that sense. Um, our leaders have done an exceptional job this summer as far as the way they've worked, the way that we've kind of grown as a group, coming off of spring ball, felt really positive about the direction that we're headed on both sides of the ball and in special teams. Excited to get back on the field with them and kind of see where we're at after all the work and things that they put in over the summer. EA and his staff have done a fantastic job with them. Plus, our guys have just on top of what we're asking them to do, just going out and doing work on their own and continuing to work their crafts. And so excited to get on the field with them on Wednesday. Looking forward to that. As we look at our season, our schedule is going to be difficult. We're used to that, but I think our guys are looking forward to the opportunity to kind of test and see where they're at. We're going to get tested extremely early. We know that's going to be a challenge for us, but as we get into our conference, we know conference play is what it is. We have a outstanding conference. It's tough from top to bottom. In my opinion, one of the toughest conferences, if not across the country. When you start looking at what you've got to prepare for, what you've got to do, and what type of importance that it plays in the role of where we want to finish up. So I know our guys are looking forward to it, ready to get out there, and can't wait for Wednesday.
Questions?
Coach, obviously, I don't know if you've ever gone through a kind of off season where we're not talking about freshmen coming in and people graduating. We're talking about, juniors and sophomores switching teams in the transfer portal. And how big of a challenge is it for you to deal with that?
Obviously, the landscape of college football is changing with some of the things that got integrated this summer. It is a little bit different when you start talking about the transfer portal and guys being able to come into your group and trying to balance your roster from a depth standpoint as you're working your way through it, trying to make good decisions on guys that, number one, are going to fit into your program, into your locker room, what they bring to the table athletically and all of that. But even as important as that is making sure that they're going to be able to come here to the University of Tulsa and be able to succeed in the classroom and be able to handle that side of it as well. So as you take all these different factors into it, it's about finding the right fit for us, the right fit for our program, and the needs that we have as you look at our roster from, it's probably now going to be, every 6 months you're going to have to reevaluate that and to see what has transpired and how you have to, again, prepare for the unexpected.
Is it realistic for some of those guys who are coming in to just jump right in? I mean, at certain positions, you're going to need them pretty much immediately, it seems like. Is that realistic?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's as you start trying to help your roster and you see some of the deficiencies that happen, you're recruiting guys with the opportunity of, hey, you're coming in here with the opportunity to make an impact right now. And that's why you're bringing them to campus. So they understand that. They're looking forward to that part of it. Now, there's going to be great competition as they get in. We've got guys here on campus that are waiting for their opportunity to step into that role. So nothing's been promised to them. Obviously, they got to come in and earn it. But obviously, you're putting that in front of them from the standpoint of, hey, we have a deficiency here. This is why we're recruiting you. You have the opportunity to come here and compete and be a starter.
How important is August? I mean, it's important at every position, but in what way is the importance a little bit unique at corner where, you were expecting one thing coming out of spring, and now it's kind of a whole different set of guys, at least in part?
that's where fall camp's got to really come into play. I mean, most of those guys have been here now for at least a month, if not longer. Been here working, been here trying to get as much information as they can defensively and trying to learn the scheme of it all. But until you actually go out onto the field and have to put it into play, that's a totally different set of circumstances for them. So you got to see how they're going to react when they get all that in front of them. But those guys are anxious. We've got guys on campus that are anxious to take control of those spots. Obviously, that is a position that we've had significant turnover in, and we've got a lot of new faces there. But I think our coaches, I think our players are excited about the opportunity of what these guys are going to be able to bring. I feel like we've added a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism to that position, and now it's about seeing what they do within the scheme and how that kind of transpires into what we're going to be defensively.
Coach, how nice has it been just to kind of be somewhat normal compared to this time last year with COVID and all that stuff, and kind of maybe having your hands back on the team like you normally would in any given normal year?
Yeah, it's been a breath of fresh air, as you can imagine. I mean, just to have some type of normal routine to our summer, having guys back on time, guys taking class, guys working out, being able to be around them every day. That's been a huge factor, I think, for us, and it's been a huge factor for our team. Just guys being able to gel and work, and especially with the amount of new faces that we do have, having those guys the ability to kind of start working together and drilling together, I think that's an advantage, obviously, for us as we kind of prepare ourselves for fall camp.
And you mentioned at the top, leadership and kind of filling that role as well. And I know, you could ask that generic question every year long, but who is kind of stepping up, in the absence of, Zayvon Collins and whatnot on defense, and, maybe Zach Smith on offense, of maybe who's kind of maybe taking the early vocal lead? I mean, I know it's early, but who's kind of becoming those guys for you?
Yeah, that's one of the areas that I feel really blessed to be in, because we've got a lot of good leaders on this football team. With our super seniors coming back, guys that were already in that role, have now been able to kind of continue to keep building on what they did from a leadership standpoint last year. But if you're looking for specific names, it's kind of hard to really, pinpoint one guy or another. Obviously, I think Davis Brin, his presence has been different than what it was last year from the standpoint with Zach having moved on and graduated. I think his presence, you're feeling that, but the good part about it is for him, he's not having to do it on his own. So, I mean, you've got Keelan that's doing a great job, Josh Johnson who's doing a great job, Chris Paul, Tyler Smith. I mean, there's so many names of guys that continue to step up and help in our leadership from an offensive standpoint. When you look at it defensively, you still have Jackson and Big Cat and Cullen and J-Dub is still our Mike linebacker, and K-Ray has done a fantastic job back there as a safety that continues to grow and build. Christian Williams has been around here for a while and understands his role and what he needs to do. So it's not just one or two guys. We have a group of guys that have come together and understand what our goals are, what we're looking to do, and how we have to lead to get to that point.
What percentage of your guys are vaccinated, and how do you approach that with them?
Yeah, from the HIPAA side of it, right? I don't know that I can give out all the numbers of that, Kelly, sorry. But, we have a large majority of our team that has been vaccinated. We have some that have not. Obviously, those guys have a personal choice in that. As we continue to move through the season, we'll see what those are going to be. Some of those guys are kind of waiting to see what it's going to look like as we get into the season. Some are closer to going ahead and getting it done. Some, again, a large majority have got it done. So we feel decent where we're at. Obviously, I would feel 100% better if we were at 100, but I don't know that any team in the country right now is at that point.
Any other questions?
Real quick, I just wanted your thoughts on OU Texas, obviously going to SEC, the kind of shakeup of college football. Is this something, the start of something that you think is going to end up affecting you guys in your conference alignment?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the landscape is starting to move and shift. We went through that, I think, back in 2012. I think was the year that kind of all of that moved itself around. Some of that is obviously out of my ballpark. We're going to focus on this year and what it brings. I think our conference as a whole, I think we're a very strong conference. I think we're a conference that is on the rise, that continues to generate momentum, continue to generate respect and power as we kind of worked our way through the years. I think not only us, but people across the nation are seeing the strength of our conference. So if there's an opportunity for us to stay intact and continue to grow and add strength, we would love to do that. So we'll wait and see how it plays itself out. But, there's going to be some interesting things that happen over the next year to year and a half, I think.
Coach, maybe you've addressed it, but I haven't asked you. How disconcerting was it, at that one position, basically, cornerback or defensive back, to lose that many guys to the portal in one offseason? I know you have the portal and there are guys you can bring back and everything, but it just doesn't seem like the kind of thing you've ever had to plan for necessarily. How tough was that to deal with?
Well, you don't plan for it. I mean, obviously, but this is the new era of college football right now. And, I think a lot of people tried to push to say, hey, if guys are leaving, this is a way that you can try to hold on to them, or this is a way you can try to hold on to them. We've got good relationships within our staff, within our players. I think guys understand exactly who we are and what we're striving to be. I think this is just what college football is going to be, and it's going to be very difficult for coaches and teams to prepare as we continue to work our way through this, right? You would hope you don't get hit at one position like we did. I think we've done a good job of addressing those issues and bringing in some really talented guys that are going to allow us to not just stay at the level that we were at, but continue to get better. And so as these things continue to happen throughout college football across the nation, it's going to be being able to react and respond and then find things to help make sure that you keep your program and your level of competition where it needs to be.
We've heard coaches talk about maybe the number needs to change in terms of, number of guys you can bring in or recruit each year because of what can happen in the portal. Is there anything about the portal, any sort of rule or regulation that, now that we've gone through it a couple of cycles, you think would be good to add to the fold?
I know you're asking my opinion, so I'll give you my opinion, but obviously this is out of my pay grade, right? So, at the end of the day, right now we're stuck on a significant number of a 25 signing class, right, every year. As this changes and the portal becomes more active, I think that number is going to have to change to some extent. With the amount of conversations that I've had with other coaches throughout the country, the tough part is you've got some guys that are going to really recruit the portal extremely hard and probably not take a lot of high school kids. We're not going to do that here. I still believe that you build your program from the freshmen that you recruit and are able to develop and grow and mature within your team and within your program. But don't take that the wrong way. Are we going to use the portal as a tool? Absolutely. Are we going to have some times where we've got to hit the portal even harder than other times? Absolutely. So as we kind of work through this and we're all learning from it, because especially this year, big learning curve when it comes to it, we'll gather more information and make sure that our plan is right. But we're still going to recruit the high school kid, but we're going to definitely use the portal as a tool to help enhance our football team and our program.
Last one for me, on a lighter note, kind of off subject a little bit, but Zaven making some plays in training camp and seeing some stuff go around on Twitter yesterday, tipping the ball, leading to an interception. Have you been kind of keeping up with him, talking to him at all? And I guess just what do you think he's going through in his first week in the NFL when he really can?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the tip pass and a couple other things that popped up out there. You know, my first initial thought was, yeah, I've seen that a lot, and especially in our practice sessions. And I'm like, yeah, y'all get to deal with that now. But, you know, fantastic player. We're so excited for him and his future and what he's going to bring. You know, I've had a little bit of conversation. He came up several times while he was back here in town, and he came up and told us bye before he left. I've had a little bit of conversation with him since then, but obviously his time's a little bit full. He's in meetings and in practices, and I don't want to be overbearing when it comes to that. But he's doing well. He's enjoying it. I mean, things are moving quickly for him. He's got a lot to learn from what they do defensively, and I know he is locked in and focused on that part of it.